To align the nail plate correctly, we need to prepare it first. We need to do a clean manicure. There should be no pterygium or skin left, and the nail plate should be all clean and matte. To lift up the nail scales, I'm using a 240 grit nail file for natural nails, making long moves from left to right in one direction. If there are any skin bits left, there's a high chance that the coating will flow and cause liftings later. Next, mat the nail surface. Make sure that there is no dust left under the cuticle and at the edge. Try to avoid the skin area using a dehydrator, so as not to dry it out. The next step is applying adhesive products for better bonding. If the nails are sweating, use a dehydrator, and if they are normal, just a primer will do. It can also be called Bondex or Ultra Bond, depending on the brand, but the point is the same. It leaves a tacky film on the nail plate, which results in better bonding. Avoid the skin and the cuticle, and apply it in 3 moves. Make sure not to layer it either, since using too much primer can cause liftings too. Next, check the nail plate condition. If the nails are flat or arched, if they bend or not. Squeeze the free edge, and if the nails bend a lot, then use a rubber base coat as an underlay. Make sure to test it before applying. Apply a medium layer over any glossy surface, poly panel or a file sheet. Test out a hard base coat as well. It can also be called strong. Send it to cure in the lamp. After curing, wipe off the tacky layer and let it cool down a bit. Then remove the base coats and try to bend them. Pull them like this, and as you can see, the first base coat does not crack at all, which means that it's plastic and it will hold well on thin nails following their curves. The second base coat bends as well, which means that it's strengthening. But when I pull too hard, it cracks. It doesn't mean that it's bad. It's perfect for building up the architecture, it will hold the length and won't sag. So we can do the underlay using a rubber base coat and align the nails with a hard one. If we apply it on thin nails right away, it may chip at the free edge. There are also different base coat consistencies. Some are liquid like water, and they are perfect for doing corrections for those nail techs who are experienced enough to work with them, since we need to work super fast using them. Medium consistency and thick base coats are perfect for beginners. They don't flow on the sides too fast, which makes them easy to use. My model's free edge is flexible, so first I apply a thin layer of the rubber base coat. I tilt the finger down to avoid licks and make the first move in the center. Then I turn the finger and, using the tip of the brush, paint along the cuticle line and the sidewall. Make sure to lean on with the pinky finger. That will make your hand steadier. Next, align the surface. Lay the brush down and pull it this way. Done with the underlay, now send it to cure. This underlay acts as a barrier between the natural nail plate and the next aligning layer of an acidic base coat, for example, which can negatively affect the nail plate condition. Make sure that you apply it very close to the cuticle, since if there's a big gap, there's a higher chance of liftings in the cuticle zone. If the base coat flows a little, make sure to clean it up before curing in the lamp. When the layer is thin, we can do without curing it. I grab a drop, put it on the apex, and pull it down like this. Turn the hand over if you wish, and wait for a few seconds to let it spread. Make sure that there are no leaks, and only then send the nail into the lamp. When do we need to align the nails? If there are any damaged or deformed areas, or the architecture is incorrect. The index nail is flat and downgrowing, so I need to build it up near the cuticle. I'm using a camouflage base coat so that you could see it better. I lean on with the pinky, push the material to the cuticle at the 45-degree angle, and lay down the brush painting the central part, just like we did the underlays. I call this layer wet floor, since our next drop will spread over it. Next, I grab some material, place the brush parallel to the nail plate, put the drop on the apex, lift up the brush, and pull the material down like this. Pressing too hard on the brush would be a mistake, since you will just take off the gel. Just put the drop, lift up the brush, and pull. Next, spread the material on the sides. You can use the original brush and make diagonal moves up and down, or a thin one, and spread the material on the sides like this. To check if the surface is even, use a round lamp. I pull mine closer to the nail, and as we can see, the highlight is uneven. It doubles and looks like number 8. So I turn the hand over, slightly lift up the free edge, and build it up, forming a smooth lift to the highest point and a smooth descent. Turn it back and check if the surface is even. If the highlight is even, send the nail to cure. Inform your client that such a thick aligning layer may release heat, and it will burn in the lamp during polymerization. Then take the hand out, wait for a few seconds, and send it back. If you are a beginner, I recommend you practice with camouflage base coats, since if there are any bumps, you will see them. The pigment should be even. If there are any craters or gray dips on the surface, just add more material there. If there are bubbles, pop them out with an orange stick or pull them out like this. Nails with the correct architecture don't require any thick nail alignment. Just keep a thin layer. Nail plate alignment makes the coating last longer and minimizes the chances of chipping and peeling. Besides, such nails look perfectly even. Applying the first thin layer, turn the finger and make sure that the sidewall is well painted. One of the most common mistakes is not leaning on with the pinky finger, getting too deep into the material. There is no way to get an even surface working like this. Try to glide over the nail plate without getting too deep, and you will see the difference. Done with alignment, now we can apply colored gels or wipe off the tacky layer. Then the gel won't flow. Make sure to pull it down gently, like this, without getting on the skin to avoid allergic reactions. Then open up the cuticle pocket with an orange stick. My model's lunula is big, which means that there is no deep pocket, and we will apply the coating close to it. Slightly tilt the finger down to avoid licks. Squeeze the brush well. Take a step back from the cuticle, push the brush at the 45-degree angle, and lay it down to paint the major part of the nail. Turn the finger, place the brush diagonally, open it up, paint the right sinus and the right side wall. Turn the finger to the other side. If you keep the finger still, then there will be unpainted gaps on the side walls. Don't forget to lean on with the pinky. If your hands are shaking and you're nervous, paint it as you breathe out. Take a deep breath first, and then breathe it out and paint. To paint under the cuticle, use the original brush. Just fan it out like this, and using its tip, make short strokes and paint under the cuticle. You can also use a thin brush. Then push the leftover material to the cuticle and align the nail surface. Make long moves from the cuticle to the free edge. Making such short strokes would be a mistake. I work without moving the hand. Only my fingers. I don't seal the tips since I align the nail plate. Besides, after the top coat, I will file them for more definition. I keep the cuticle pulled and release it only on the way to the lamp. You can practice this application technique on plastic tips at home, repeating all of the moves. First, make 3 main moves, then fan the brush and make rounded strokes. Our task is to paint even lines. Try using a thin brush practicing on another tip. Make sure to lean on with the pinky. Another application technique with a thin brush. Grab a small drop and paint under the cuticle. Work with the brush surface. Make sure to pull the skin well. If there is hair in the coating, make sure to take it out so as not to ruin the look. Don't rush in while painting. Take your time, but try to avoid licks. And if the gel flows, clean it up with an orange stick before curing. There are many useful tutorials and manicure life hacks on my channel, so make sure to subscribe so as not to miss out on new ones. Our task is to outline the cuticle with the first layer and fill in the nail with color with the second one. This time, there is no need to use a thin brush in the cuticle zone, since the material will naturally flow there over the first layer. We can apply the second layer on a few nails right away. It won't flow much since we have painted the first layer perfectly. I place the previous nail on my hand to keep it still and paint the next one. When it comes to the first layer, we paint one nail at a time to prevent the material from flowing. There are different top coat consistencies, liquid and thicker ones. Use the consistency you're comfortable working with. I prefer liquid top coats. The application technique here is the same as for the second layer of color. Make 3 moves first. I don't seal the tip. Align the surface with long moves from the cuticle to the free edge. Apply a medium layer to align it well, and turn the nail over for 10 seconds. Make sure that the highlight is even and send the nail to cure. Normally, we use non-tacky top coats, so as not to waste time on removing the tacky layer and avoid allergic reactions. We can use tacky top coats to cover up the designs, nail powders. If the nails are thin, we'd better use tacky top coats as well. They are more rubbery than the non-tacky ones. Lay the brush down to align the surface. It should glide over the nail plate. And if you lift it up at the 45-degree angle, it will just take off the material instead of aligning it. Done with the top coat? Now we can file the tips for more definition. Don't worry about wearability if there was nail plate alignment. If you like such detailed, step-by-step instructions, give this video a thumbs up and check out my other videos about gel polish application techniques.